What's up, everybody? Let's see, week in review. Right now, it's Monday. Monday's chest day. But last week was pretty good. For the most part, it was pretty much a breezy week. No real major comments for the week in general, other than it went well. I can tell I'm leaning out still. I'm down to a new low weight of 139.05. Pretty low. I haven't been this light since the first time I ever cut outside of, well, just in college. So I started out at 185 in college, no lifting, a fair amount of muscle mass just from being generally overweight and relatively active as a younger teenager, though in those last few years of high school / college I was mostly sedentary, which is fine. Anyway, but at that time I lost 45 pounds-ish. It was actually 47, so I was 185, and I went down to 138, which oddly enough I think is where I'm going to end up at this one. Look totally different. Maybe I'll upload some photos to the to my stories, and you can kind of see what the difference is between now and then looks like. But yeah, so I'm back to 139. Probably going to get to 138. Hopefully not much lower than that. My trend weight for macro factors substantially higher than that, probably 142 and a half, somewhere in there. I haven't actually been watching that lately. Just been doing the thing, seeing how progression works. Some notes. I'm getting a little bit more of a split here, which was one of my primary goals. I've got mostly front lighting, so it's not too clear here, but that's coming in really well. And then glute striations are beginning to show up. I had some lines on the edges of the glute, but now they're starting to begin to creep horizontally along the fibers, which is pretty cool. So I'm probably only a couple weeks away from having a really big visual change in that department. Nutritionally, I noticed I've been leaning a lot more on meal prep, so I've been spending a lot more time making batched meals. That way I know what my whole week looks like a little bit. I don't really do a whole lot of like meal prep per se, where I've got all of my meals planned. I basically make a big meal that has leftovers, and then I just have them available, and then I kind of plan them the day before. I don't like having the same meal every day, except for breakfast, which I have the same breakfast every day. I guess I love those breakfast sandwiches, but otherwise I try to mix it up day by day. But that's just kind of my thing. I'll probably avoid meal prepping for the most part, except for maybe batching vegetables, just so I eat them more when I'm outside of prep. But yeah, that's just kind of my thing. But yeah, so for the most part, pretty good. Energy levels were not the lowest they've been. They were definitely a little bit lower last week, but better than the previous few weeks. Steps, I managed to keep my step count up slightly. The average days were slightly lower, but I was able to get some peaks in there on Monday and Friday, which was nice. And I'm starting to go on walks with Caitlin even more now that she's feeling more comfortable with her arm in unstable terrain. So we've only got like one park we can go to, and most of it's unpaved. And then in the little town I live in, Roxborough, North Carolina, there's no sidewalks, as far as I can tell in the whole fucking city. So it is what it is. And if I want to walk on a country road and die, then I can do that. But I'm not gonna try that. That's kind of a bad idea. And a lot of crappy drivers out in this area. A lot of friendly ones, but for the most part, it's a country road. People don't really pay attention. People hit deer all the time. So. Yeah, things are going well. I had a schedule cut-wise, so I should be able to come up on calories and get into maintenance and looking more full for several weeks. And I believe Cliff and I are starting to test carb ups. Last Friday, I had carbs at 420 grams for that day. Protein was down to 160 grams, and fat was down to 45 grams, and I just had a whole bunch of carbs, which was nice, and I looked really sick the night before, and I still had a little bit of fullness the morning after, which seemed to be good for what Cliff was looking for. But I imagine we'll be trying different stratifications of carbs. So yeah, that's basically the full recap. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of topics, so I'll just make one up now. On the spot, I guess lifting and identity is something I'm really passionate about. It's something I think about here and there about what is my identity as a human being. I've seen a couple other like bodybuilders, weightlifters, strongmen, etc. kind of talk about identity. It's more common in bodybuilding to make an intentional separation between I versus bodybuilder I, and less so in strongman. I'm not sure why that might be. For example, I know right now Brett Freeman, a bantamweight WNBF pro, he's making a lot of posts about how he is Brett, a bodybuilder, not the bodybuilder Brett. And what that means, I guess, for him and probably similar for me is, while I am a bodybuilder and am a strongman, that is not the core feature of my identity, and there is far more to it. An important thing being, I'm not driven or defined solely by that feature of my hobbies or my careers or jobs. I'm a coach. And if I were to lose that for some reason, due to catastrophic need or like catastrophic loss, injury, gym's gone, doctor says my heart will explode, I have other things in my identity that I can fulfill. And still be a human being who will suffer an emotional loss from losing things that I enjoy. But like, I'm a husband first. That's way more important than lifting. Yes, right now lifting is in my top priorities, as is being a husband, being someone who works at a brewery. These are things that are really important to me. D&D, magic, stuff like that. Those are all priorities, passions, things that I love, but no one of them defines me as a being. And one of the kind of things that really brings this to my mind is maybe a year ago, I had a pair of gym shorts that I really liked, and they got like totally messed up in the washing machine. I was like, oh shit, no, now I need to get a new pair, like right now. It was kind of like the tone that I had when I was speaking with Caitlin. She's like, you have like underwear with holes in them, and now you like have a twisted, knotted like string for your gym shorts, and you're gonna buy a new pair. Like, what does that even mean? And I guess like that's another example of identity, not necessarily identity, but priorities. And it's kind of tied in. Like as a lifter, lifting apparel, lifting equipment, things like that, expenses in that area are far more important to me than weird, like different things like, I don't know, buying new socks because there's holes in them, or upgrading certain appliances or whatever. It's something where it defines what is expensive. Like, oh yeah, I'll buy a glute ham raise or my reverse hyper scout. Like those sort of things are expensive as shit, and because lifting is one of the top priorities in my life, I higher rank those expenses. Kayla and I have a budget for other things, and she helps me pay attention to those. But I don't know. I'm just rambling about expenses now, I guess. But for the most part, it's important to remember how you, as a human, structure your spending, structure your identity, so that way, if there's losses, you're not like catastrophically half the human you were. It will cause suffering or feelings of loss and emotion of loss, but it's always important to have other things that make up the core you. That's kind of my thoughts. Miscellaneous note, I get this comment a lot. This is not spider strength. I love spider strength, but this is Magic the Gathering. This is the symbol from one of the guilds from the Ravnica set. It's a blue and black guild. If you play Magic, you will probably know what that means. But basically, in the game, it is a symbol relating to basically a style of gameplay or a story element, depending on where you subscribe, at least in the game. But yeah, that's what that is. A lot of people think it's related to spider strength. Don't get me wrong, I love James, I love Spider, but I'm not necessarily getting a tattoo unless I get a free membership. Anyway, that's what I've got. Yeah, no other updates. Bye.